Oh, shoot. Okay, so we're back. I just put the back on here. It's just extra clay. I cut it out. I put a stamp and a little bit of color on there just to make it a little more interesting because it's really not that important. But as you can see, it's nice and hard now. Okay, so we're going to work on the mantle, the jellyfish, or the body, I guess. It's just a piece of, what do you call it, pearl clay, kind of a big wad. You can use white, you can use translucent. I had a lot of pearl. And really, when you do a lot of the opalescent on top of it, the translucence just kind of gets lost. So, all right. So make a ball about what you're thinking, about how big it'll be. And then just cut it in half. So it'll flatten it out a little, which is good because jellyfish aren't really round. Not really. They're more of a rhombus? Kidney bean? I don't know. Something like that. So we've got a little bit more of the shape. You don't actually, you want to start to kind of pull down at the corners while you're flattening. Okay. So you kind of have your basic shape that you want. You can either use a tool or your fingernail, but you want to kind of just scoop out a crevice. And again, I like to flatten it a little bit on the sides to give it a little bit more of a illusion of depth. Okay, so again, since this is door, we're not really making a realistic octopus. I'm going to do a fun little texture on it. These, they're nail polish dotting tools. You can get them online or you can go to them at like a beautician kind of store. And you can just get a set of 6 for like $10. There are like official art ones, but they're a lot more money. Yeah, I think I saw a set for like $50. And sure, they're probably higher quality, but I think I paid $10 and I've had this set for maybe 5 years. And I drop them on all the time and they've mostly held up. And when they finally break and I give up, I'll go buy a new set. So I'm using my largest one just as a base, just trying to add a little more interest. Then I switch it to about the medium size, and then I kind of just follow to give a little bit of a pattern. And then I have a smaller one. It's hard to see that light. Try. And if I don't like it, you just smash it and start again. And kind of rounding out the center to give it, because the tentacles have to go in there, and it makes it a little more interesting. But because this is going to be in a fairly shallow dish, you can't go super round with it. So you just kind of want to give it the illusion of the roundness. And that's pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, we'll give that a try. Okay, for the fun part. For the interior, I'm going to use a nice dark blue. And if you have any questions about the eyeshadow or anything like that, you can leave a comment and I'll try to respond. If you have any questions about which colors I'm using. Because if you want, they're not, I mean, they're nice eyeshadow, but they're not super cheap, but you can get like a little sampler pack so you can see. If you have a small project, it should be enough for that. But if you have a large project, it's a good, better value. And they last forever. And I'm doing some on the outside to, again, give the illusion of depth. Oh, shoot. Sorry, camera's currently stuck on a container of screws because it's actually a really good height. Okay, so that's a little bit of color there. And I'm gonna do a sparkly mid-tone for that. Do that on the body. Actually, let's try it as a rub. Because if you use the brush, it'll go into the pockets. So if you're more interested in highlighting the texture, you want to use your finger and just lightly brush over it to give it the, what do you call it? Just to hit the high points. And we'll use this. It's the same concept as dry brushing. So this one doesn't have as much white on it as I did on this one, but we'll keep going. We'll see how it looks. So just to get an idea of scale, scoop that up, plop it on here. So it'll be right here, and then we should have all the little tentacles down here. Obviously it'll be a little bit elevated because of the resin, but so far looks pretty good. Good size. Okay, tentacles, you just take a snake and you roll it out, and then you roll it to points and then cut it up. I'm not going to go over all of that because you probably know how to do that. Just make little snakes. But what I'm going to try for this piece, and I haven't tried it before, is I really like the lacy bits inside of the jellyfish, or like the lacier tentacles. So I rolled out a thicker snake than the tentacles. I'm flattening it out now. And so it's ribbon-like and flat, and I'm going to pull out you. Also, you should have a clean workspace, which I clearly don't. Shh, don't tell anyone. Okay, so I'm taking my ball tool, or my point dot tool, I don't know, and I'm just kind of doing a random pattern. Don't really press down, because especially the pearl clay isn't super flexible, but you're just kind of, and you want to do it as randomly as possible, because that you don't have to worry about the thinness on the edge because it's going to be protected by the resin, but the randomness is what sells it being natural. With nature, things are always similar, they're never the same. That's how you know something looks plastic, is when it looks perfect. And jellyfish are no exception. So that's a good one. And if you feel like it, you can try the other side. If you want a finer detail, and you mix and match. Push, but don't really smush it. And you can pull it out. Let's see. It's good length. A lot of these are going to get trimmed because, again, you're working in a more limited space. So it's better to do a little bit more so that way you can trim off more if you need it. That's nice. It's a nice end. Might have to trim the other ones to get that. Oop. Let's see. You're just pulling. because I like that fineness of shape. That's the fun thing about jellyfish, is they're like living blown glass, very fine, very delicate, something that could never exist outside of the water. Okay, that's 3. A little bad end. Again, keeping with nature, odd numbers are usually better. Unless it's legs for an invertebrate, or for a vertebrate, then it's going to look a little weird. But when it comes to something more random, like flower petals or tentacles, unless it's an octopus, but like for jellyfish, yeah, I'm not crazy about that one. Odd is better. Okay. So I'll just set those aside for now. What else? Okay. I have a good selection of many little tentacles of different lengths. I like to mix it up. Again, it's not necessarily something, most jellyfish have a set length because of the way they feed, but since it's jewelry, it's all about just if it looks really nice. See, I have this bigger mantle, and I mean, it looks nice, but I feel like it's going to take up all the nice tentacle space. And that's the thing that's really neat about jellyfish. So I might redo that one. Well, let's do some coloring on the tentacles while I consider that. You can use an extruder if you get the one. If you're going to get an extruder, get the one with the crank. It costs more money, but it actually works. So, worth it. And you'll get a little more uniform results, which, if that's what you're into, that's great. If you like the more handmade look, then just rolling them out's fun. Okay, so I'm gonna collect ones that I like, because I make more than I actually end up using, usually because some fall on the floor, or some I just think aren't very good, or I spill something on them, or I don't know, cat knocks them on the floor, dog eats them, I sit on them. And most of these I've already gotten fairly short, but not enough. Yeah, let me move these things that way. Go more space. If these things weren't being painted, which I know they're, well, dusted, I'd be more careful about getting cross-contamination, but it doesn't really matter. It's gonna get covered. It's not like this is food where somebody's going to die if there's a speck in, oh shoot, nope, just lost one, in their jellyfish nettle. Which actually you can eat jellyfish. I've never had it. It just feels like it'd be paying for water. Water that was alive. And now you're eating it. I don't know. So I'm just trimming them down a little bit. Since this is kind of small. Let's see. Alright. So, where's my purple? Here it is. So I'm gonna do little lacy bits in the center a bit darker. Then I'm gonna do the tentacles. Just because I want them to stand out. Shoot, shouldn't have moved all these here. Go away. Alright. It's a lot easier when you're not trying to show people. Alright, so this is my purple. I'm gonna do If you're worried about it being a little too dark, you can always tap a little on your skin. Let's see how that goes. See, look how fun that is. That's nice. You could also do them in a different color if you really want them to pop. The nice part about polymer clay is that, like 90% of sculpture, it's really not that expensive. So if it screws up, you lost a couple of dollars. It's not like when you're doing bronze and then, oh, that model you spent 3 months making and molding, oh, explode the mold. Oops. That's no fun. Okay. I might add a bit of gold to them later. We'll see. Okay, so there's going to be different lengths of tentacles. So I'd like to paint them all individually, ideally. So if you can put them all together and then do them, but it'll be harder for you to get the different tips painted. I'm just going to keep saying paint. Colored. Okay. And when I do mix it together, I'll probably end up trimming the top off, so don't worry about the top too much. And for the tentacles, just because they're so roly-poly and annoying, I recommend probably a paintbrush. I mean, you can do it with your hands. No one's going to stop you, but it's probably going to be really annoying. And I'll probably turn it off so you don't have to watch all of this, but okay. So I'm gonna do the body, or the majority of the tentacle in, let's see. Probably that. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll see how it pops up on one of them. No. I like it, but it's not popping enough for me because a lot's going on. So, alright. It's okay if they roll around in it because you want it to be covered more than not. Like I said, these probably won't go in, but I like to have them done in case I want to switch them out quickly. Yeah, a lot of people do jellyfish, but it's, I don't know. Usually one person I really like their jellyfish, and I have no idea how they keep their little tentacles from breaking outside of resin. I don't know. But maybe if they eventually do a video, I can steal their ideas. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, I guess we'll do a gradient for these. Let's see. I'll probably tip them in gold to give them that extra jewelry pop. Okay, so we're adding in, oh, you can't see it. And adding in like the mid-tone blue. You don't have to do it on all sides, but sometimes when you're moving them around, they'll pop up and you'll see, and they won't be completely covered. Which, if that doesn't bother you, that's fine. But if it does bother you, do that first. It's a lot easier than trying to retroactively paint it in. if you like color and doing it this way, but you don't want the sparkle, you can do pastels. Just don't do oil pastels. You want the chalk pastels. The only problem with them is they tend to be expensive. You can buy the cheaper ones for an okay price, and they'll last you forever. But you can buy them singly if you just plan on like one project. They're going to be more expensive, but they'll also be nicer. Eyeshadow's nice because you can go to like TJ Maxx or something and just pick up all sorts of crazy colors for pretty cheap. I just keep buying this lady because I keep seeing her at conventions and her stuff's amazing. And really she has the most unique of the colors I've seen and the widest variety and iridescence, so I'm hooked. But not everybody wants super sparkly. I like super sparkly, but people have different opinions. You, got you. Okay. So they're starting to get some color. Yeah, now we're switching to dark. Eyeshadow also blends well, unsurprisingly, which is nice. And polymer clay is pretty thirsty. It picks it up pretty regularly, especially if it's finer ground. That's actually one of the reasons I don't like that other pearl pigment very much. I don't know what's up with it, but the clay is not thirsty for it. It just is. It's not very bright, which is fine if that's what you want. You don't want a super bright high gloss. It's a good choice, but the colors aren't very intense, and the clay does not pick it up very well. Okay, so that's a pretty good selection. I'm still not 100% on that head. Oh well, that's fine. So, oh shoot, crap. Oops. I think I will do some tipped in gold. Back to my gold. Just because it's jewelry. And it'll help the tips stand out really well against the background and each other. I'm not going to do them super curly. Nothing against it. I actually like the way it looks, but I just don't do it that way. I guess when you look at jellyfishes, their tentacles aren't really very curly. They're much more, they just kind of drift all together. So I like to just kind of make them look like they're drifting in the water. Not that I don't like the curls, but, and again, having it curly is better when it's outside the resin because it helps protect the tips. But since the resin protects it, you can get as fine as you can manage. Without worrying. I don't like doing too much polymer clay jewelry because I like it to be strong because I break stuff. So I'm always hesitant about it just because I don't want somebody to, oh, I spent all this money and it broke yesterday, the first time I wore it. Don't care for that. I'm going to put a little gold on the mantle because it's upsetting me. It's better, I guess. I don't know. I'll think about you. Ah, crap. Okay, so we're gonna try this now. Alright, so I'm gonna try to arrange them by size. Again, it's not necessarily how jellyfish really operate, but this is make-believe attractive jellyfish, so we can do what we want. I want to do some bigger ones in the back. Oh crap, sorry. Alright, more or less pretty close on the sizes. And we'll slip those in. Oh shoot, you're not seeing it, sorry. So I'm actually smushing them together at the moment. You don't have to do it super hard. Actually, I wouldn't recommend you do it super hard in case you're like, oh my goodness, I need to fix it. So it's easy to still remove. Alright. So that's the first layer. So we'll do that as the first layer. And let's try layer number 2 on top. And this is going to consist of shorter tentacles. And you can mix it up. You can do the shorter ones in the back, or in the front, or whatever. There's all sorts of jellyfish. There's so many. And you don't have to do a realistic one, like this one. Just do it how you like it. I personally like taking a lot of my inspiration from nature, but, you know, make it black, make it green, make it whatever you want. That'd be pretty cool. Black and the purling, the stuff, it just shows up amazingly. I was thinking for my next video, if anybody watches this one, I will do a black snake and make it very, very rainbow shiny. So that's where we're at right now. So I think that's a pretty good tentacle amount. Let's just slide these bad boys over. We're not going to get rid of them in case, oopsies. Let's put them over. Alright, let's see how we're feeling about that. How we're feeling about that. I think it's too small. Actually, that's pretty good. I'm gonna scoop out more of the guts right here. I actually have a special tool I made myself that's better for this, but since you most likely won't have it, you can just use a loop tool. It's basically my own loop tool. It's nothing special. Oh shoot, sorry. Also one of these knives, which is great for everything polymer clay. It is one of the most useful tools. And I built multiple of them because each one has a little bit different, unique personality. Alright, so I hollowed that out. Since I'm happy with this, I'm just gonna roll it together a little. It'll see, it adds up the depth and kind of mushes it all together, becoming one piece, sort of. And then trim. Nope, see if I lost one. Crap. Let's see if I can get that in there. Yeah. Nope. When it does get covered in the sparkles, it doesn't stick as well to itself. Which, depending, it's good or bad. Alright. See, I think that's a little homogeneous looking. I think I'll see if I can bump up. Oh, first we'll see if this is an appropriate size. Ah, shoot, lost some tentacles. Okay, so it's looking a little big. Yeah. And I can start curling some of them in think I need a little bit smaller of a mantle. And I lost some more tentacles. So somewhere in between the last size and then first size. Fortunately, this part doesn't take very long. Oh, shoot. I didn't realize it was so long. Hold on, I'll put it on pause. Okay, so I made a different mantle that I like a little bit better. Okay, so we're back. And squish those in a little bit more. Flatten them out. So, pretty good and tight. Trim again. Since, again, it's a more limited space, when you squish down, they pop up nicely. But it's a more limited space, so you have to be willing to trim. Okay, so I'm actually positioning tentacles now. Let's see. Well, I'm not going to bake it yet. I'm just trying to see how I feel about them proportionally. Still seems a little big. Alright, I'm taking off another millimeter? I don't know. Maybe that's a centimeter. Okay, so I've trimmed it down again. Now we're getting closer. I really should have looked at the picture of the other one I did. Unfortunately, I always want to do something new whenever I do a project. I don't repeat very well. So let's see how we're feeling about that. Let me see. Oh, so I redid it and it's a little bit flatter and I'm trying to curve it to give it a little more of a dome effect. So we have a feel about that. That should leave some gentle jellyfish space. Get some turn in there. I think I'm gonna get rid of that one. I think it would have been better with shorter ones overall and no long ones. So I'm gonna pull this one long one out. Because I feel like it's distractingly long. Alright.